A new club review in the new fitting room, a new old company with McGolf. Let's find out what it is. Welcome back to McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary, most awarded certified club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club reviews, club repairs, and club fittings. If you would like, subscribe, swing and hit the bell. That way you get more of these videos when they drop. All right, so a new company is into McGolf in that we're going to do a full line product review. Now, this is got to start with story time first. When we first started here in this property right here, we actually we worked with Srixon. Srixon back in the day made an incredibly good forged component or even a forged product. They were more in tune on selling a golf ball than they were golf equipment. And what happened is they became a victim of their own success. The equipment started selling whether they liked it or not. And that's what happened. Well, in the history, Srixon bought Cleveland. All right, and there's a whole lot of stories. I could bore you to death with what happened, and anyway, and so now you had Srixon, Cleveland, and what's a little bit known out there is XXIO. All right, and so now there's 3 full club companies under one banner, and a lot of people don't understand that part of it. So you have the Cleveland group is what we'll call the average golfer guy, right? The one that wants ball up in the air, that kind of stuff, and it fits that product line. Srixon, on the other hand, is more players-like, right? They fit kind of the upper average guy to the player guy, and most of their product is all forged. And then you have XXIO, and XXIO is for that player that has the slower swing speed, yet is looking for a very high quality component or a very high quality club. So it's very high end, but it's also stuff that's going to get you your swing speed back and allow you to gain some of that extra distance. Now, you haven't seen XXIO really in the U.S. too much because, well, it's really hard for, Japanese or even any other club company to really make a good mark into the U.S. And Cleveland and Srixon already had that foothold, so they're kind of bringing them along. That's what's happening. So what does this all mean? So there's story time, right? So I have Tim here with me. He's in the background, and he's throwing me lines and stuff, so I make sure I get you the right information. However, we're gonna go through and we're gonna club review the 2 companies. We're gonna do Cleveland and we're gonna do Srixon. All right, XXIO pretty much from a left-handed point of view is pretty much not happening. So, and that's okay. It's just because honestly, a lot of the people will probably go through the Cleveland or the Srixon product anyway. And so that's what we're going to deal with. Now, there's going to be a quite possibly a 3-part video setup. So this is number 1. Because there's just so much to cover, you'd be watching it until tomorrow, and that's not what this is about. So we'll break it down into some digestible, high-quality reviews so that you get the best information possible. All right, so let's start with Cleveland. All right, Cleveland is probably the more well-known. You've been seeing it on TV here as of late with with the addition of the drivers and stuff. However, Cleveland has really made its name in the wedge category, right? They are for lack of a better term, they are the wedge company, right? They have now is the CBX2, the CBX2, all right? And the CBX2 is kind of that, if you have cavity back clubs, that you would want more of a cavity back style iron. And that's what this is. If you can get into the back side here, that's basically hollow right into this area right here. So all that underneath here, that's hollow. And what they've done is they filled it with a gel, all right? And when you fill it with a gel, and I'm kind of guessing, you see these lines right in there? That's probably what they put in there after the gel goes in. Okay, because it's almost a rubbery component that's in there. So what does all that do? Well, when you add gel, it drives down the CG. You get the little wider sole going on, it drives down the CG. You put the gel in it, and it makes it feel softer. So you have this softer wedge. This is not cast, or this is not forged. This is a cast wedge. This is a cast wedge, so keep that in mind. So anytime you can make them feel softer, that's better. It also sports the, what are we calling, the RTX profile in the milling. And what does that mean? It is a milling, RTX is a milling pattern, right? It's a milling pattern that gives it the face, that coarseness. Now we've talked about face coarseness in other videos and how the USGA has its requirements and how different people get to different spots. Cleveland has adopted a milling, and it's called the RTX pattern. Okay, that's what that is. This comes stock with the Dynamic Gold 115. And again, I think that's a great number, all right, when you're talking wedges, because as we've talked before, in irons, that 105/95 is becoming more of a tradition as opposed to the 120 was. And I think that technology is being a wonderful thing to golf. They're allowing us to have slightly lighter shafts with the same kind of performance. And this is no different. If you can shave off a few grams, you get that better feeling, more control, and it just works out really, really well. So that would be their wedge. Now, in this wedge, there are families of wedges. All right, I dig family concepts. You'll have different sole grinds, and if you've seen in other reviews I've done, different sole grinds are just the way to go for great turf interaction. Turf interaction is all about where you play and how you swing, right? So you have basically what would be a standard, and you see there's not a whole lot of, just a slight heel relief and just your big sole right here. And then this is just to kind of help you if you get through the thick. They also have a C grind. All right, you can see that, hence the C grind. You see the C right there? C grind. Now, it's not rocket science, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. I showed you the S grind. I showed you the C grind, and they have an X grind. And the X grind is basically a little bit more heel and toe relief. They seem to be sporting the crossline grip as a stock grip. All right, and you can see it looks like to have maybe just a little bit of gray in there to offset it, and it goes with the gray cap. So that's the wedge family. So you have wedge family, you have at least 4 different grinds. It's more of a cavity back kind of feel to go with the cavity back kind of clubs, because the next part it'll see, because we're working our way up the set. You'll understand why they went that direction. And the steel. I'm sure there's a graphite shaft option in it. The graphite shaft that goes into it's called Rotex, and it's about a 50-gram option. Now, if you're using super duper light graphite shafts, that would be a really great option to do. That way it marries up, right? We don't want to go iron shafts and then sledgehammers. We want to go irons and then drops it down so it is slightly heavier, because you do want a slightly heavier wedge, not super heavy, all right? So let's go on to the next one, is the RTX 4, all right? The RTX 4. The RTX 4 has a slightly different sole shape, all right? Now, this is what they call V-sole. All right, if you look, if we can get that in there, the V-sole, it goes here and then it slides down. So it goes across and it slides down. So this is where your turf interaction occurs. However, this is the kind that helps if you're going through really thick rough, right? When you talk about thin soles, soles tend to get caught, right? Especially if you're a digger. So what they do here is they have this little addition, and that little addition helps not get stuck. This is like it would be a really good design for that guy that might be the digger in hard conditions, or the sweeper in soft conditions. This is the kind of club that would really, really work out well. And if you look, it's got traditional shape. Right, nothing really outlandish about it. Nice tall toe, and it also has the RTX pattern. Now you can tell this one's been used quite a bit, but again, it's the milling face and the RTX pattern. Now this one is sporting, because this is a little more players-like, is sporting the S400 Tour issue. All right, S400 Tour issue. If I'm doing it, and we'll talk about this one in the fitting category, I wouldn't understand why we couldn't go with a 115 in this guy too. And you get the same Tour issue and get a little smaller. But that's what the design is on this guy, and we'll see how it works out. All right, this is new to the Cleveland line. You've been seeing a lot of this coming out, and what this is this is the Launcher turbo. All right, launcher turbo. And how do I know it says launcher? It's a launcher turbo because it says launcher and it also says turbo. All right, if you look at it, it's very much the hybrid iron, right? Hollow body design. That's what this is for. So all this right here, all this is pulling down CG, right? It's pulling down the center of gravity. And what we talked about that, when you pull down center of gravity, you can make the lofts a lot stronger and still get that same launch characteristic, right? So, and that's what we're doing here. They're making it easier to get up into the air and still making it fly like the 7 and then getting a little more distance. All right, so we'll start that one over again. It comes with the Dynamic Gold DST98, dual speed technology shafts, right? Dual speed. And again, when you're talking about a distance club, lighter means speed, speed means ball speed, assuming you're in the middle of the face, and more distance it goes. So this is going to be a stronger club for the guy that has trouble getting the ball in the air and is looking for a little more distance. This comes in a set that will start at the 4-iron and goes all the way down into a sand wedge. So for those guys lacking even a little bit of confidence hitting the irons, this could be a choice for you, all right? It could be a choice for you. All right, another new one from Cleveland is the Launcher UTX. How about that? Another new one from... See, that's the reason why I got Tim back here. He's the one that's helping me out. All right, so new from Cleveland is the UHX. UHX. And it is more of an iron style look, right? And it is another hollow body club. And you notice it's not nearly as wide. It has more of an iron appearance to it, right? It's got the little thing here, so if you had to fill it, you could, I suppose. And it has an at address. It has a what I would call a medium-low offset at address, where the other one would be a much higher. So again, this is a 30-degree 7-iron. So that's it's no joke. So for the guy that likes the appearance of the iron, but is still looking for that distance, this could be that particular club. And it is also sporting the Dynamic Gold DST98. So, and again, it's also sporting a little bit of V-Sol technology as well. All right, and now, and last but not least, certainly in the iron category, is if you're not much of a hybrid guy and you really want to throw it out there, they have the Cleveland UHX driving iron, and this one happens to be a number 4 at 20 degrees. All right. A little wider at the top, has a slight V-Sol going on, and again is hollow body. All right, again is hollow body, and this goes from the 2 to the 6. 2 to 4. It goes from 2 to 4, and this 4 is 20 degrees. So from a hybrid, for those guys that struggle with hybrids but like really hitting irons, and you're not really getting what you're looking for in a standard iron, this could be, again, this could be it. Now this one, and this is the one part I like, has a recoil in it, right? The Recoil 95. And the Recoil 95 is a no-joke shaft, right? It is absolutely no-joke shaft. And again, it has what I would call a medium, maybe medium high. And because you're hitting hybrids, right, or a hybrid iron. So a little more forgiveness. Even the players in that higher end have a little more offset because it's such a longer club to help get it shut. That's just design stuff for guys to hit the ball straight. So that's what this one is for, and that's the Cleveland line. after one of the largest testing sessions I've ever been, Tim, the Srixon and Cleveland XXIO rep, was helping me get through it and did a wonderful job, and he was keeping me informed of the different things. We get to hit them, and as we're talking, I'm going to flash up some numbers on what the flight scope, okay? The testing session is powered by flight scope, and we're going to talk about what these felt like, how they performed. First up are the CBX2 and the RTX4, okay? Remember we talked about the CB is the more forgiving cavity back-like, where the RTX is more of the players-like. Now, as you'll be seeing in some flash-ups up here, I hit the CBX a little bit further, but I believe I spun the RTX just a little bit more. Now, it could have been because of the shaft that was in it, because one is a little lighter than the other, but I can tell you that the CBX did feel softer, just as they were promoting it, right? Just as they were promoting it, it did feel softer. And I was able to miss because of the wider sole. You know, when you hit those shots that are an inch or two behind the ball, that you get away with these, all right? That's the idea here, is that if you get in the fluff or anything like that, that you could, you know, just get after it. Really, that's really the idea. Now, it doesn't look bad at address. I think it has a little larger in a size, but if you were just looking at it by itself, you really wouldn't notice it, right? You'd only notice it if you compared it to the other two. The RTX it felt good as well, just a little bit, not as soft, but it had more of what I would call a solid feel. I think that it also has the V-sole technology on it. Now, I will say that I was hitting half shots far better with the RTX than I was with the CBX. Now, it could have been me just getting warmed up. It could have been that that's normally what I just hit, right? In both cases, I was spinning the ball very, very well, just a little bit better with the RTX. So it just depends on how you get into it. From a fitting perspective, what am I saying? Well, again, if you're going to be that guy, again, the length and the lie and the weight are paramount to wedges as sole grinds. However, if you're going to be that guy that's going to be always swinging as hard as you possibly can in conditions that are just universally different, then I would look at the CBX. If you're more of a controlled player and you really like, you know, you're more distance controlled and you're more of a gamer, we'll say, then the RTX is the way to go for me. And I would also look into, you know, and if you're doing the fitting, I would look into whether or not you could go to the lighter club or the lighter shaft. That might be something. You just never know. All right, first out, I hit the UHX Cleveland Launcher Club. Again, sporting the V-sole, the hollow cavity, right? You can tell us because it's got the little knot in the end. Little hollow cavity, and I was playing it with the 98 degree club. And I was having difficulty. Now, that was just me. I think the club is a little long per se. Again, fitting would bear out whether or not what length that you need, and that's nothing but a cut, right? Nothing but a cut to get it to the right length. Now, when I got onto it, it felt decent, all right? It was as a hollow body club typically is, right? It's not going to have that massive solid feel, but when you tag this thing, it will go. I mean, I got a few good ones out of it, and it will go. So if you're more of an iron look guy, that's the way to go. All right, now the launcher turbo, the launcher HB turbo. Now, this one came with the same shaft as the UHX. This club is in a different class, all right? It is in a different class. As Tim and I were talking, virtually, if you can't get this thing in the air, do like Bobby Jones' teacher said, hit 5 more balls and give up golf completely. This thing just absolutely airs it out. You can just go after this one absolutely, all right? Now, there's always going to be a graphite offering, and this is lightweight steel. It's all about distance, right? It's all about distance. So who is in this one? Well, a beginning golfer certainly could do it. An average golfer looking for more distance could do it. An aged golfer looking for distance could do it. And particularly if you struggle with height, if you're one of those guys that hits bullets all day, then this would be for you. And I wouldn't be afraid to go with the 98 gram steel shaft, especially in the proper flex, because I was just airmailing the crap out of this thing. It was really, really neat to try. All right, something I really, really wanted to work, and I think it sort of did. I'll give it a sort of. Now, keep in mind, I'm a hybrid guy, and I've always really wanted to try driving irons, or what you would call the larger irons, just to see how well I would get along with it. And I hit these, personally, this is just personally, I hit these things, I will say okay, right? I was about, 20 degree, and now I'm comparing them to hybrids, and I don't know if that's fair, right? Because hybrids are meant to do a whole different job. But I will say that if you guys are more ironish and you can't really get your heads wrapped around a hybrid, then this is a club that you'd want to look into. It's got a medium-high offset, I would say, and with the larger sole, you can actually miss, still get it out there. It won't go as far, but you'll still get it out there, and that's really the condition of what this club's all about. When you start getting up into the 5-4-3-2 iron, it's just all about ball go far, right? It's all about ball go far. And the recoil 95, when we looked at the acceleration profiles, this club was just really rocking for me as far as getting through the ball. Again, I think these things are a little bit longer than they should be, but that bears out in the fitting. It's all about planes and heights and different things like that. Me, I'm more of a vertical guy, so a shorter club works better. Once I started choking down, numbers started coming right back to me. So a neat little club all in all. All right, so in the Cleveland lineup, again, it's just as it expects. In the Cleveland lineup is your beginning average type golfer, okay? It has all the specs that you're looking for. It has modicums of offset. It has lightweight so you can bring it around. Has longer clubs. Now, again, go get fit, right? Go get fit. Even if it's just the basic stuff, so you can make better contact. Particularly if you find yourself hitting behind the ball, as I did, it could be nothing more than the length of the club, and you can do that. So if you're looking for something like that in the Cleveland lineup, certainly that's who I would prescribe these things for. All right. So this is part one of a 4-part series in the review of the Srixon and Cleveland lineup. So hopefully, tell me what you guys like in the way. If you saw something that you like, put it down in the show notes. And as always, let's see your scores go low.